Are you a fan of Matias DeStefano? Would you like to understand some of the things that he says? Does he sometimes say things that just, what does that mean? Well, that's what this video is here for. I might do a few of them. So, as always, your host, everyone and everything, yes and nothing and no one here. Anonymous at the moment, forever. uh, I'm going to start with explaining what he meant when he was questioned on his interview with a Next Level Soul with Alex Ferrari. This is for you too, my friend. As I saw your face, which still to this day cracks me up. When Matias said that the Masters didn't do anything, which is funny because I had just released a video maybe a couple months before that interview came out, but that said the same thing. And I remember Alex, he said that, and he was explaining to you and saying that, I guess that like enlightenment or whatever is not a place that you can get to or something you can achieve or acquire or so on and so forth. And you were, so what you're saying is it's not something, it's not a place you can get to or something you can achieve. It's, and watching your gears jam up, I was laughing my ass off on the couch because not too long before that time, I maybe like a year or so before, I would have been the same way. I'd have been like, what is he talking about? But now I understand it. So I'm going to try to break it down for you and everyone else if they're confused by that at all. And say maybe you feel like you got it, and maybe you do, or maybe you feel like you get the gist of it, but you don't quite grasp it in its wholeness. Well, this is for you. So when Matias said that the Masters, they didn't do anything, and that like enlightenment isn't something that you can like ascend to or acquire or achieve, this is what he was referring to. This is what every ascended master has figured out about themselves. Remember, everyone, this is all about know thyself. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start with like I'll just start right here. Well, we're all those of us who are aware of this information. As far as existence goes, creation and creator all being one of the same thing. The creator, source, whatever you want to call yourself, made everything of itself. So, what it boils down to is exactly that. That's the whole point. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move into and explain a source memory for you all right now. So consciousness itself, the thing that is everything, when what you call God, was there. In the beginning there was nothing, okay, and then basically that nothing woke up and realized that it was something because it had to be, because it was there thinking and then starting to feel things and didn't really understand and know what was going on at the time, hence all of us being here. But I'll stick to the point. Which for some reason in my videos doesn't seem like something I'm very good at, which is weird because it's like the opposite of how I am in real life. But anyway, so that source did not take any conscious action or make a conscious choice to be what it is, to be at all, to exist. It just realized that it did one day, okay? If you just imagine an awareness, all of a sudden, just in complete, utter, total darkness, becoming aware of itself and that it's somewhere or something or that doesn't know, and that's what leads to the question that we all have: who am I? What am I? Why am I here? Well, that's a source memory. That is you as source remembering that moment in what you could call time, just for the sake of it. So that thing that is infinite potential, that created everything out of itself, thus everything else being infinite potential, possibilities, it is all that and recognized all that within itself. Thus, it decided to create everything all at one time. It just went within itself, its heart and mind, its imagination, to see what it could possibly be and if it could be anything more, and then recognized it could be everything, and then decided, well, what if I decided to, what if I decided to do all that, to be all that, all at once, all right now, all forever, and make it forever. Because people have a hard time understanding the concept of God and what that means to be a God and all that. Like, you could do literally whatever you want. You can make rules that you want to make. You can make gravity not a thing. You're already all doing it right now. You all take reality and tell it it's the opposite of what it is. You know. So back to explaining Matias. That was just like a kind of prelude to it. So what the Masters realized, the Ascended Masters, the hilarious title that us humans, the ones in the perception of separation, have given them, because I don't know if you noticed this, but not one Ascended Master, I bet you, I don't read, so I don't know for sure, but I have my sources. I'm willing to bet that there's not one mention of one of them ever in history ever referring to themselves or another as an Ascended fucking Master, unless they were talking about someone else and used the term just to explain it to people, but that's not how they see themselves at all. It's definitely not. I can't even say it's the opposite, because video for another time. So the Ascended Masters, they just were able to recognize that, more importantly, put the pieces together and remember, put themselves back together, their true identity, and remember that there was nothing need be done, nothing need be acquired to be all that is, to be love. You always were and always will be. That's what Source figured out. It realized it had infinite potential, and this was like, yeah, all right, I am. Let's be that. So when it comes to them in this physical world not doing anything, what that means is, and what Matias means to say, not saying you don't do a great job at explaining things, buddy, because you do. I'm just, you got your time crunches on these interviews, I understand, and it's not like he asked you with a follow-up question. But, so what it is if you consider how, people, we hear from channelers and near-death experiencers and all that stuff about OBE experiencers, how when you get out of body or whatever, you become aware of or get reminded that multiple ways of how you set up your life and the major events that are to happen in this time and space reality, and that you remember yourself as God on the other side, as the all, as infinite, all powerful, all knowing, all that stuff. And so you're able to recognize that both, what is it, like the fate and destiny and free will are all tied in together as one. It is your choice. It's just we come here and we forget that we made said choice. Or choices. And here's the thing. So the Masters were able to do some introspection, look within themselves, and look at, say, what you could call a past of their life as it's gone up until whatever point that they reached and realized, like, whoa, I'm everything and I'm in control. I'm not a victim. My whole life has been playing out exactly how I've manifested it. It just, maybe it was like, subconsciously or unconsciously previously, but then now you're aware of that fact, so boom, and then that's where all your power comes into play, and now you no longer feel like you're just a wee little victim, and this person did this to me, and why did this person do that? Because you recognize that you called those people and attracted them and each other into your lives for certain experiences to show you a reflection of yourself, so that way you could better get to know yourself, along with be able to have the option to decide what it is you like and what you don't like, what you prefer and what you don't prefer. This is actually the truth when it comes to what people mean when they discuss right and wrong, and why those lines seem to be so blurry when you look amongst cultures and each individual person being on the planet. Because there's no such thing as right and wrong, there's just what's right to the individual in that moment. That's also why you have people who used to live their life one way and now live it another way. And the one way they used to think was right, now they say, oh, I did that before and that was wrong and I'm a better person now. But you notice that keeps shifting amongst people. Well, you know, people, how does that work? How can you be right and then decide, you decide that what you thought was right before is now wrong, and vice versa, and you continue this pattern over and over again. So what is right and what is wrong? You are, essentially. So the masters are aware that they chose how this life is going to go, and they recognize that the thing that was causing their suffering at the moments in their lives when they were unconscious, just living without being aware of the grand scheme of things, reacting rather than responding to certain events and conditions in their lives, they figured out that, you know, everything happens for a reason, yes, and they figured out that everything that had happened to them was through them, and that it didn't seem to the way that they were choosing or unconsciously choosing to react to their situation causing suffering was completely unnecessary. You might notice this in your own personal life. How many events and things have happened to you that felt like the worst things possible in your life ever, and then you find yourself in a future and present moment where you say to yourself that wasn't so bad, or it was the best thing that ever happened to you. And then you'll realize when you look at that in those moments, you probably put yourself through a lot of fear, anxiety. You could have had anxiety attacks or panic attacks, extreme, immense depression, so on and so forth. You were choosing to believe that was that your truth, whatever it was you were focusing on, and that was the real you, and so on and so forth. I can go on this all day, but I just want to get to the point. So they realized that everything was happening through them, for them, and that they're in control, and that their life, the major things, are already predetermined by themselves, the selves that know themselves as all, God, whole, love, and that they didn't have to do anything to make anything happen. The same way Source didn't have to do anything to exist. It just is. And that's what that is. So they stopped sweating every little thing about, well, I have this destiny and I gotta make sure I get all my ducks in a row and have everything in line and get it just so, because you'll notice things just seem to happen, especially when you're following your joy. And the thing is, it's like, as much as you can kind of be off your life path and out of alignment, at the same time, what you set up to happen, certain things are just going to happen. So the only thing that's really going to be different, if you want to call it that you'll notice, is you might just be putting yourself through hell while you're accomplishing the things that you came to accomplish. So say a major event that's supposed to happen happens, and because you're judging things as better or worse, right or wrong, it might look horrible to you, rather than being able to see the gift that it is for you and everyone else around you and as a collective. So basically the Ascended Masters just surrendered to that knowing and that truth and that fact. They just allowed themselves. So this roller coaster ride that we're all on, that we're living, that can have these extreme highs and lows and these just sudden drops, sudden pickups, and moments of extreme excitement and despair and fear and all that. Well, they realize that they are the observer as consciousness, and it's all just experience. So it's kind of like they just decided to just enjoy the ride, and even when they're not enjoying it, to know and be like, okay, obviously I brought this in for a reason, and this sucks, but I know it's gonna pass, and you know what's coming next. So that's how they're attached and not attached. I'll explain that in the future as well. But yeah, so they're not shoving any particular meaning or on the outcomes, or worrying about meaning on the circumstances and worrying about the outcomes of situations, because they know it's all happening for the what people call the highest purpose and highest good. That shit's hilarious. Highest good, what does that look like? And can you compare it to a lowest good so I can see the difference? Is when you say highest good, is it like instead of getting like $1 million, I only get like $2,000 compared to like what a medium good? Like where does that? Someone please give me on the scale or whatever you're using to show that to me, because I would love to understand it. But yeah, in a nutshell, as Bashar wonders why we like to put things in nutshells, that is all they did. That's it. So it just goes into just being. I'm gonna do another one explaining that as well. But yeah, the masters, they just let go of so it's like you don't have to know everything that's coming, and you wouldn't want to if you did. That takes the excitement and the surprise out of life and things. So it's there's a beauty in not knowing. So if you're ever wondering why we come here and forget and don't know, well, how many things have you had in your life happen so far that you did not see coming at all, and it was just like the greatest thing that ever happened to you? It wouldn't have been the same if you knew. That's why surprise parties are so awesome, because you're not expecting them. That's why when your significant other all of a sudden just grabs you and pins you up against the wall or something, and it's on, and you're like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. Doesn't it seem like it's just that much hotter because it's spontaneous? Well, there it is. I will do a deeper dive and maybe section this out and do like a little playlist for it, but for now, I want to keep it nice and simple. Have a nice day. Yeah, I hope that got the point across.